So, Rebecca, what would you think? What would you say is the best way to learn English as a second language?
I think the best way is to listen as much as you can to things like the radio in the language, radio stations, songs, music, and keep listening, 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 and don't worry about understanding everything.
Yes, you're right. Yes, I would say so because sometimes people worry how much they can understand and they get frustrated. But it's about getting used to listening, right?
Yeah, it's a sound, listening to the different sounds.
You're right. What do you think?
I agree that a lot of it has to do with just listening and just kind of submersing yourself in by music, movies, and also practicing with how your mouth is sort of moving. Because I realized when I would practice my Spanish, I had issues with the same thing where I was just like, I don't know exactly what I'm saying, but as long as I am trying to say the word, it sounds like I'm getting there, and it's more encouraging for myself to see the progress.
Like you're like phonetics.
Yes.
Phonetics. You're talking about phonetics.
Yeah.
So you learn how to move your mouth, put your tongue, how to control your breath.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Phonetically, it helps a lot better.
Yes, that's it. Because many people as well, they worry about grammar a lot. They try to learn the structures. First go the subject, then goes the verb, and stuff like that. But I would say, that's more for teachers, maybe, rather than students. Yes, of course, you need some basic things about the grammar. But yes, what's your position about the grammar? Did you learn grammar when you were in school, or, for example, right now that we were talking about, for example, the first conditional?
Yes.
Of course, you can do it with no problem, but you're not related with the words. When I say first conditional, what's that? This way. Oh, yes, of course, I can do it. What about grammar? Did you learn grammar, Becky, when you were in high school?
I'm ashamed to say that I didn't.
You didn't? Okay.
I've actually got an English degree, English literature, but I'm afraid when I was learning at school, the schooling system in England didn't encourage grammar.
Oh.
It was actually, they were more interested in making sure that students just enjoyed and played with the language. Which is a good thing, but you need a bit of a balance. I think now the scenario in England is that they are doing a lot of grammar, but my time had passed. So when it comes to actually helping people with English, I have to go back to the grammar books myself and learn it again.
Okay, I understand. Roshan, you are a teacher.
Yeah.
What's your position about deep grammar inside the classroom?
Grammar, as you know, when students have a fear to learn grammar, so one of the best solution is introducing grammar to them and let them practice by themselves, by various means, by conversations, by presentations, and that would help them a lot to learn grammar by themselves rather than going for books and lectures. So learning by themselves helps them a lot in the ways of conversation and interaction.
Right. What do you think?
I think a lot of where, at least growing up, I think reading really helped me just sort of like understand where parts of the speech will go. So I think if you're highly encouraged to read at a younger age, your grammar is a lot better than most kids. And yeah, I agree, just by practicing and by yourself as well as with interactions with your friends.
It develops, they have the confidence to use the grammar in sentences and try to speak, try to be in a perfection.
Yeah, I think, for example, one exercise I my students do is that they watch movies, a lot in English with English subtitles. And so, I mean, they see, right there the sentence, and the sentence is, the grammar usually is correct. So that gives them the confidence. So if you saw it that way, write it that way, say it that way. We can assume, that is the correct way. Yes, of course, we cannot say that all the movies have, the correct grammar or all the sentences. But usually it is like that, and it's a sort of a passive way in which you take a look at the sentence and you say, yes, I saw it like that, so I'm going to write it like that.
Yeah.
That's okay, because you don't have to think if it is correct or not. What about vocabulary? How would you learn vocabulary? What's your advice about vocabulary?
One of the things I do for French, because I learned French, is I play websites, French websites that have translation in French, English, and then you can also turn off the French, turn off the subtitles. And the website also has games in it as well, which are to do with vocabulary. So, and I basically play the website on my computer in the kitchen when I'm cooking.
No.
And so that it's just going in.
You gotta be careful, you don't.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no casualties. But I do it so that it's just playing in the background, so that it's sort of going into my subconscious. But then I can pick up the vocabulary by checking it using the games and playing things back. And I found with my French that that's really expanded my vocabulary. And that when I've been listening in France to conversations, I've been, I know that word actually, because I can pull it out of my memory.
Yeah, that's right. What about you, Roshan? What do you think is the
Reading,
best approach?
of course, reading. Reading a lot, it helps you to know new vocabulary. And when you read, if you don't know what it is, you really try to know what it is by looking into the dictionary, internet, wherever it is. So reading books, newspapers, even watching movies in English, even without subtitles or whatever, it helps. It is a big thing to learn vocabulary. It's a big step.
Yeah, that's good.
I guess depending on the age that we're talking about, for younger kids, I've noticed if I can make it a game, that's really helpful. With a group of kids, I had like chalk, and we made the vocabulary words of the kitchen, and we put them on the ground, and then I would say, okay, go to the word that says this, and then whoever got to that first would have to tell me what the word is in English, so that they kind of learn it that way through games. I know some people work really well when it comes to flashcards, so they'll put flashcards on the areas of what the vocabulary word is. So if it's in your bedroom, then you have different flashcards to just kind of subconsciously remind you of the word. Yeah, those would be like the two main ones that I would throw out for vocabulary words, especially if you're just trying to develop a basic sort of level to vocabulary and maybe extensively focus more on reading.
Yeah.
Can I just add? I was looking at the BBC language YouTube videos, and I thought they were very good. They picked a theme, and then they chose 3 words, and they talked about how a word might be used in different contexts. So learning one word, but knowing that you use it in different ways. And I liked the explanations that they gave. I thought they were very clear, and I thought that English native speakers could actually use the videos themselves
sometimes,
to learn.
yeah.
So
That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
I would have to go, for vocabulary. The way I built a lot of vocabulary, it was through video games. You see, I like video games. Then I remember I used to play an RPG, and I started playing it, but I couldn't understand very well, but it looked very interesting. You see, and I gotta know what's happening. And then I remember I was playing here my video game. Next to me there was the dictionary, so I took the dictionary, and any word that I couldn't find, I was looking for it. And my friends were, well, very bored. They're like, "What are you doing? I mean, that doesn't look like fun." It's for me, because the story is very interesting. And yes, actually, I did it all the time. When I was just playing there a little bit, I read, then I couldn't find a word and try to find it, and okay, get it, then a little bit, and read a little bit, and read. But nowadays video games, a special kind of video games, because there are many kinds of video games. The sports video games or first-person shooter video games. But there are also the RPG video games. Those are the ones that I recommend.
Which has a big story.
Exactly. Because it's like a very interactive book. You see, and I have seen many interesting stories, love stories, in video games. Mysteries, some surprises. You didn't see that coming. The kind of stories. And yes, I would go with video games, because yes, you feel like you need to know, you feel the urge, to know what's going to happen next, So the video game there, you start doing it, and if you want to know, there you have to understand.
A video game is like a 3 days movie.
Yeah.
It takes a
exactly.
very
It's much
long
more
time.
interactive.
Right.
When you make a book into a movie, it's just 1 hour, 1.5 hours, and when it's turned into a video game, it goes more deeper, and there are a lot of interactions, a lot of conversations and the games which are releasing now, like from 2014 until now, the games are really elaborate, really big, and really huge, and there are a lot of opportunities to learn from it.
Yes, even chatting, when you play online. Sometimes my son, he does it, he talks, of course, with supervision. He talks, he interacts with other people, he chats right there a little bit. So of course it helps a lot. Video games would be my way to go.
I think, by finding something that person is interested in, and then making it into a way where they can incorporate vocabulary words of a different language.
For the person who books are boring.
But they could be more into movies,
Right,
or
just sort of
in video games.
play on to what
They have a lot
of
of opportunity, that part, which it's really interesting.
Yes, and the videos, those are great as well, the ones that you mentioned.
Another thing is cookery books or cookery online recipes.
You're
That's
right.
quite a nice way
I've done it, yes, and it's
to
great.
get
Yes.
people interested in the language.